Welcome to the incredible country of Uganda. Referred to as the Pearl of Africa, this small landlocked country is home to an abundance of lakes, mountain villages, friendly locals, and the highest density of primates, including the mountain gorilla, in the world. Heading to the lush jungles of Uganda take you aboard small aircrafts, through rural mountainside villages, and across endless bumpy dirt roads. But in every direction are breathtaking views. There's a reason going gorilla trekking is an adventure, with each step of the way adding to this once-in-a-lifetime experience. It is truly life-changing. So in this guide, I'm going to be going through everything you need to know before you embark on your journey. But first, let's start with a little backstory. Mountain gorillas are highly intelligent but endangered species, estimated to have fewer than 1,200 living in the wild. Though due to conservation efforts, in recent years they have seen a steady increase in their population, but they still must overcome the challenges of habitat loss, civil unrest, poaching, and a global pandemic to thrive once again. Currently, the mountain gorilla's habitat is limited to protected national parks in two regions, Bwindi Impenetrable National Park of Uganda and the Virunga Mountains in Uganda, Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Rwanda. This guide will be focusing just on Bwindi National Park. These mountain gorillas, like their name suggests, live in the forest high up in the mountains at altitudes of up to 13,000 feet. And to the surprise of many, once going through a 3-year period of acclimation to humans, can be seen safely up close in the wild. These creatures are highly sociable, living in family groups of around 10 gorillas, consisting of multiple females and infants, led by a single dominant silverback male. And the adventure of experiencing an hour with these majestic creatures starts with your arrival to Entebbe. So, fair warning, Uganda has limited direct flights, as most will enter through larger hubs in the Middle East or Kenya. Entebbe is one of the larger cities in the country on the coast of Lake Victoria, just south of the largest city, Kampala. All entering the country will fly in here, as this is the only international airport, and the location provides a relaxed stopover when flying in or out of Uganda. From here, you board a light aircraft to the southern region where Bwindi National Park is located. During our time here, we stayed at the Boma Hotel, which was basic but offered a nice place to rest between travels. For our single room, it cost $147, which included breakfast, Wi-Fi, and a swimming pool to enjoy. Once back at the airport, we boarded our light aircraft, a small 12-seater with Aerolink. The best way to get to the southwestern area of Uganda is to fly, although there are roads connecting the region if desired. Flights to this region only leave in the morning, as weather conditions make travel by air very difficult in the later hours of the day. Our flight was just over an hour, making 2 stops before reaching Kisoro airstrip, the location closest to our accommodation on Lake Mutanda. Depending on which accommodation you are staying at will determine the specific airstrip, as roads are rough in the area and just a few miles will take you quite a bit of time to drive along. Both Kisoro and Kihihi airstrips offer gorilla trekking trips in Bwindi. Our flight time was delayed slightly by 15 minutes as we stopped at Kihihi airstrip. Even this early in the morning, there was already fog covering the runway. Luckily, it cleared and we made our way to where we would be starting our gorilla trekking experience. Finally made it. What do you think of your first small plane ride?
It was actually way smoother than our international flight yesterday.
I know, we actually didn't really have that much turbulence.
No, it was great.
But
that landing was
pretty smooth ride there.
It was fantastic.
Now just an hour and a half bumpy car ride to our place. Once on the ground, we boarded our 4-wheel drive Jeep and started our travels on the paved roads of Kisoro. Then onto the rugged, pothole-filled dirt roads, winding around the mountainous terrain overlooking Lake Mutanda. These roads are definitely not for the faint of heart. All of our airport pickups and transportation to the gorilla trekking was through a company called Africa Beyond Borders. Our driver, Chris, was super friendly and gave us a detailed history of the area on our bumpy car ride, which he referred to as an African massage. During our time gorilla trekking, we stayed in a luxury cabin at Mutanda Lake Resort, which offered a range of rustic cabins overlooking the lake, situated on a peninsula. The views were some of the most beautiful on the planet, as the Virunga Mountains sat directly in front of our porch. For our individual cabin, it cost $255 per night, with an additional $25 for lunch and dinner, whereas their simplest cabin costs $130 per night. And they will pre-pack your lunch for any trip you plan to take. This resort is the perfect base for an abundance of activities like gorilla trekking, volcano hiking, or those just looking for a peaceful place to enjoy nature. The best way to explore the area is by water. We hopped onto a small wooden boat and cruised around the entire lake for 2 hours, stopping at the famous Punishment Island, a place where the local African communities would traditionally outcast wrongdoers, leaving them there to starve. The lake was quiet, as we only passed a few fishermen, and could faintly hear the sounds of children saying hello from the shores in which they call home. The best part of the lake is nature has been left alone. There is minimal development and all resorts in the area are eco-friendly. After completing our tour, we settled in to enjoy the sunset and dinner. You can really just hear the sounds of nature. Super beautiful. But super pumped. Tomorrow is gorilla trekking. Should see some silverback gorillas. Maybe a couple elephants. I didn't know that they were in the same area, but
Well, I thought maybe
a 2-for-1 deal.
I thought maybe we didn't want to see the elephants because they're a little more dangerous in the jungle.
A little more dangerous, but I'd still like to see some. Wakey, wakey, 5 a.m. How does it feel? You thought you were going to be sleeping in on your honeymoon?
Yeah, here we are.
But here we are. It's 5:30 right now. We just started getting ready and we're headed for breakfast right now. Early morning, but it's an exciting morning as we are going gorilla trekking.
Let's go see some gorillas.
Let's go. Quick breakfast, and then we have an hour-and-a-half drive since the roads are terrible here and it's so bumpy. And then we'll be at the national park. From Mutanda Lake Resort, we started our early morning drive just after 6 a.m., but the views of the Virunga Mountains at sunrise made the wake-up time worth it. We passed through several villages on our way and tons of children on their walk to school. According to Chris, it is normal for children to walk up to 2 hours one way, as public schools in the region have no source of transportation. And before we knew it, around 8 a.m., we arrived and signed in at the entrance to Bwindi. I'm sure if you've done any research about gorilla trekking, you've seen the cost. A single permit will set you back quite a bit. In fact, just to spend an hour with a family of mountain gorillas, it'll cost you $700. Although it's still a lot cheaper than the $1,500 it'll cost you in Rwanda. Permits are made for specific days and are limited in availability. Thus, if you need to make any changes, you have to do so as far in advance as possible and pay a fee to adjust. The climate is consistent throughout the year in Uganda due to its close proximity to the equator. But the best months to trek are the driest, which are January to February, and June through September. Outside of these months, expect wetter conditions. We trekked in October, and although we had a very dry morning while out, it did rain aggressively later in the day when we got back to our hotel. So if you're trekking to a further gorilla group and will be out all day, plan on getting wet at some point throughout the day. The temperatures range from 18 to 29 degrees Celsius or 64 to 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Although due to being in the rainforest and insects, you will need solid footwear, long pants, and long socks that you can tuck the ends of your pants into, and long sleeves. And now the big question, can you book your own gorilla trekking experience? The answer is yes, however, it is quite difficult and confusing. Thus, the majority of travelers leave their issues of transportation, permits, and accommodations to a tour company. Therefore, all they have to do is show up and enjoy the experience. This is what we did, and I would highly recommend it. We planned and booked our trip to go to Africa, but while in Uganda, since they aren't actually located in the country, we used the local tour company, Africa Beyond Borders. From when we arrived in Entebbe, we got a huge packet of information, which was very helpful and outlined everything. And then throughout the rest of the trip, we had a WhatsApp group that gave us any changes to our itinerary, or just so we had a direct contact if needed. Overall, our experience was fantastic, and we would definitely recommend using them for any travel throughout Uganda. Our hike started at a small welcome center, Here we were greeted by the locals with dance, provided our permits to staff, and learned about the specific gorilla family we would be trekking to.
And the group we are visiting is called Mishaya. The group is composed of 12 members, 1 silverback, females, babies, and a juvenile. Our trekking is going to start from here.
We're all starting our trek right now.
Here we go.
The path was easy to walk on as you steadily climbed your way into the jungle. The group was led by one of the armed guards, keeping in contact with the trackers, who were in close proximity to the gorillas. These trackers go out early in the morning and stay late into the evening, monitoring the location of each gorilla family. They also redirect them to prevent them from leaving the boundaries of the national park, as farming in nearby villages poses a contamination threat to their food.
So we got 30 more minutes left. Should see some gorillas.
So we thought we were close. However, we had a surprise waiting for us, a forest elephant. I apparently got what I wished for in an epic fashion. Brittany and I were in the front of our group, and as we passed a small dried up riverbed, there it was, a little too close for comfort, staring down at us. It was terrifying yet incredible to be that close. However, it did cause some commotion. Unfortunately, the elephant had caused the Mishaya family to migrate from their original position. We had to backtrack, but since the elephant was still nearby, we had to venture off path, through a stream, and bushwhack a new path. This took just over an hour to get back to a safe area around the elephant, but luckily we continued on our way without a problem. Though once on the other side of the valley, we were again nearby as we began to hear them. We climbed uphill for just another 10 minutes and reached the gorillas.
We made it.
The mountain gorilla, such a captivating animal, often surprises us with behaviors and emotions so similar to our own. In fact, gorillas and humans share roughly 98% of their DNA, making them one of our closest cousins. The experience of being in their natural environment as they interact with one another within feet is truly a magical moment that changes you. It's wild. However, we made sure to keep our distance to prevent disturbing them. Ecotourism provides opportunities for protecting gorillas and their forest homes, along with helping the local villages. A percentage of each permit cost goes back to the conservation efforts needed to promote the population growth of this incredible animal. As our hour came to an end, the family of gorillas decided it wasn't time for us to leave yet. The gorillas intersected our hike and took some time relaxing on our way out. So we had to do what we did with the elephant, make our own path to get around. For now, it was time to let the mountain gorillas get back on with their day. Our hike was rather short compared with our trek in, as we went back a different way and got picked up down the road. We stopped in the jungle for a late lunch, prior to heading back to Lake Mutanda. While on your gorilla trek in Uganda, you'll be joined by 2 armed guards and a guide to ensure your safety throughout the entire experience. These armed guards are there just in case you encounter any wildlife, such as groups of gorillas that are not trained to be around humans, or an African forest elephant, as both can be kind of aggressive. There's also a maximum of 8 travelers going to each individual family, keeping a very close and intimate feel. Additionally, you are allowed to hire a porter to carry your personal belongings, or if you're not an active hiker, they're there to assist you, and currently are available for $20 per person. Just a side note though, if you are planning to hire a porter or make any tips to the guides and trackers, it has to be done so in cash. Access to ATMs is pretty much non-existent outside the center of Kisoro, so make sure to plan ahead. They are willing to accept all major currencies and not just the Ugandan shilling. After you're done trekking anywhere from an hour to a full day, depending on the gorilla family you're seeing, you reach their location. Once in close proximity to the gorillas, you are required to wear a mask. Just because mountain gorillas and humans are so closely related, you can pass back and forth viruses such as a cold to and from one another. So you are required to wear a mask to ensure their safety. Thank you all for watching our gorilla trekking experience. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and comment down below. And as always, I will catch you all on the next one.